I got to be very quick. I would skip the search pitch presentation. I will go directly to the SAP conversational AI. So let me know if people see my screen. Yeah, yep. You can see my screen, huh?
Cool. Yeah, we are seeing it. Yes.
Okay. So basically, I think we all know now especially for the customer service domain, so which would have been revolutionized by the chatbot. So you all one of the reason is because the chatbot would be more low cost, more efficient, and then they work 24/7 hours, and then you can have our human being customer service, maybe with those fundamental question like the FAQ or something, very basic question, and then let the more difficult question can be handled by the real customer support agent there. Okay, and then of course, and also giving the merging of the messaging app. Now we're having more and more messaging app, and I believe WhatsApp and the Facebook Messenger and Slack and Twitter, it's one of the also popular in India and also across the APJ. Maybe China will be different. So China would be having the WeChat and so on and so forth. And then so that's why we have since last year, not 6 months ago, SAP acquired a company we call Recast.ai, and then we already officially renamed the product as SAP Conversational AI, which would provide you the platform, end-to-end platform for our enterprise customer, including the business one and by design customer. They can build or partner. They build end-to-end chatbot. So you provide the natural language processing, and then you also provide a pre-train intent, especially like the hello world, like the greeting, hello, ciao, and this kind of things. You're having a kind of small talk, which you can include into the chatbot. So there's some pre-train, and then in terms of delivery channel, so which eventually the bot can be connected through multiple channel. Either you have a website and then we call it web channel, and then either you have a Facebook Messenger, and then you can also love them more quickly as well. And then either you have Line and any kind of a messenger that we already provide. Most of them we already provided the channel for them to easy to just config, and then you can connect or bring your board live to this Facebook Messenger channel, Slack channel, and so on and so forth. And of course, more importantly, when we go into the enterprise domain, of course, we will need to support the multilingual. So the board, the Recast.ai, it also supports around those of the language. It's not every language we support, but Indian, Hindu, and Chinese, and as well as Arabic and the other languages we support as well. So I would quickly showing you two sample, and then the whole would be able to build the board. So there's a end-to-end procedure would be you can create a board, and then you can create an intent, and then you can train the board to understand the human language. I will give you some example. For example, let's say you want to create a board for the online shopping, and then you want to have an intent to handle. Let's say when the end customer say, I want to buy the book, or I want to buy a TV or something like that, and then the book and TV, and they can understand, they want to buy something, all right, and then this will fall into product inquiry intent, something like that. And then you can have another one. You can train another intent, which can dealing with the say, I want to place the order now I want to check out now for my shopping cart, or I want to add the book, two blah blah books into my shopping cart. So there's another intent which you can train, and then you can check the the natural language into the structure to understand what the end user is talking about, or the end user is seeking to talking about. You want to having some inquiry about some product. You want to search the product, okay, and they're giving some product, or you want to add some product to the shopping cart, or you want to check out. You want to check out, so you can understand the intent, and then you can after that, and then you can build a skill. You can build a skill to serving that purpose. Maybe the quick diagram before I jump into the demo, and to help you understand the whole how the basic concept of the we want to create a board in with SAP conversational AI. So of course you can have a bot, and then inside this bot you can having as many intent as you want. So the intent, as I said, one of the examples I give you, let's say you create an online shopping assistant bot, and then when you're doing the online shopping, you can imagine when the end-to-end user experience. Okay, the user maybe ask, I looking some product. Okay, this is something maybe product inquiry. So you say maybe you're having several ways to say to express. I'm interested in some product. Maybe you could say I want to buy the book, or maybe I'm interested on the TV, or I want to shop. I'm looking for I'm looking for something. I'm looking for this something. So this expression, inside expression, you can extract. You can tell the bot how to extract the entity. For example, in this case, let's say I want to buy some book. Maybe the book is it can be because you can buy many things, right? Book or TV or something else. So eventually you can tell the bot, you can teach the bot to extract the entity. Oh, the book, it's a product, okay? Or TV, it's a product. And then you can have a skill. You can have a skill. You can have skill to respond to this intent, and then inside this skill, and then you can having the condition when to trigger this skill, and then inside this skill, and then you can having multiple action. So the action could be you can send a reply message directly. You can send a message directly, or you can having some maybe more rich messaging, like you can have a list, you can having the covers, or so on and so forth. Or more importantly, you also get a chance to do the integration with to fulfill the service request from the script, and then with your own webhook. So with webhook, and then you can implement it. You can consider as a service provider, just an HTTP service provider here, and then you can implement with any kind of language you know how to handle the HTTP request. It could be the Node.js, it could be C#, or it could be with the Java. In this case, so in the next two example, I'm going to show you how can you get started. I may not have shown you all the information, but at least you can have a look. How can you get started after this introduction, and then you can come back, and then you can. I will just take a screenshot of this URL, and this URL is the have prepared for the hackathon. If some of you have been went to our hackathon, and then you maybe know this as well. And inside this one, we are giving some tutorial, some very basic like how can you create a first board, follow the tutorial, to train the board, and then I'm also giving the two examples in my coding as well. One is very simple one, just a hello to how easy you can create your webhook implementation. I will show in the demo straight away, and then you can have an idea. And then the third one is a bit more comprehensive sample. which you can ask the bot the question about what about the sales analyze. For example, I want to know about my top 5 best seller product for this quarter, or I want to compare. I want to have sales report, monthly sales report, compare last year and this year as well. Or I want to know about who is my top 5 customer for this year, or I want to compare, and so on and so forth. So we can help you to serving this kind of sales analyst query. So for the first one, let me going back to the how many minutes do I have? Do I have still having around 5 minutes or something like that, right?
Yep, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So quickly, so how can you get started? So basically the SAP Commerce AI, you can just type the URL cai.tools.sap.com, and then you can register. I already have it registered. So if you are new, you can register, or you can register for free as a developer. It's for free, or you can sign in. You can sign in with your GitHub account. You can use your GitHub account to log on as well. So as you can see here, I already create one bot. It's the new bot. Just go to the panel and then create a new bot. Let's create one of the bot and say online. Maybe just call it shopping assistant or something. Okay, so it's just the demo online shopping assistant. Now I just skip this one, and then you can select the you can give in a topic or description as you want. You can, if you have time, so you can decide the language as well. By default, you can select a default language. I would like to select the default language in English. As you can see, there's a couple of English has been supported. Most of the most common languages have been supported in this case. All right, and then let's say I want to have I want to having the not the personal one. Then in this case, I don't having them dealing with any kind of a non-volunteer boat. And then I want my boat to be public, so means everyone can see it. If you want to make a public one, a private one, so only you can see it in this case. All right, let's make it very simple online shopping. So the first step is after you create a bot, and then you will need to create an intent. And the good thing, as I mentioned, it's a community. There's a couple of intent has been available. For example, for those very common using like the how to say greeting, how to say goodbye. So you can edit as you want. So I'd say we have a better. Just get a better. So in this case, I including the greeting. Including a greeting sample. As you can see, you're already having so many samples of say hello, greeting, something like that. So now I will going back to create my my intent. Let's say create a new intent. So the intent is going to serving a certain type of question. So when you go online shopping, so the first thing is you need to searching for the product, right? So let's say we call this one as a product inquiry. Very fast. I got a very. I say I input the intent as product inquiry, and then my default language. You can add more language by clicking here, and then now I would like to add expression to how does it note about I'm looking for the product. I say I want some book. All right, and then so as I mentioned, maybe you online shopping e-commerce having many products. So you don't want to for one book for one product category, you don't want to have one, right? You want to have a generic one. So in this case, you want to have you want to extract the information. You want to just click enter. And then now you can you can highlight this one, and then you can, let's say I want to tell the board to check the entity for me. Let's say this is, we call it product. All right, so this is a product. You can call it whatever name you want, a product or items or whatever. Eventually, this is something the board will understand. Okay, and then you can having other examples. Say I'm after TV or something like that. Okay, and then in this case, now the TV it's also a product as well. So you can using the same hashtag in this case, and then maybe you can input as many as you want. I want to buy a bench or a desk, and then the same, and then you can highlight this one as what? As the same as product here. All right, and then the golden rule is for one intent, if you're having more than 20 or 30, and then they will be having very good understanding. So I don't have time, so I just give 3 of example for the board, and then the board you can test it out. You can test it out. Let's say you can test that by click the test, and then you can say I would like to buy some wine. Let's see how good it is. It will be able to. Unfortunately, it doesn't be able to recognize to our intent. The reason most likely is because we don't have enough sample, and then it falling into another grading. For another grading, I think maybe the wine it's not a good idea, because I remember the grading having something to talking about the wine, so that's why maybe I have some desk, some chair now. Okay, so the reason is I don't have as many as intent, so that's why you fall into. All right, I think I'll skip. I'll be quick. All right, so once let's say you just need to put as many with saying you want to buy something and buy the product, and then you understand you're falling into, eventually you're falling into this intent. Okay, so because I should have the other intent, and therefore I can better. And then the second one is when you have trained the board, and then maybe just a quick one. Let me.
No rush, Yatsea. We still got time. Yep. I think it's very good that what you're showing, so that the developers can really see how easy it is to train.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay. All right. So now, okay, since I have more time now, I can showing you how can you train the board. Let's say if you think the board didn't understand very good, and then you can go to the, always you can correct them as well. So say this one, it's make a mistake, it's falling into the wrong intent grading here. For my case, it actually should be go to the product inquiry in this case. And then if next time, the more you train, the more sample you give it, the more sample. Let's say now, let me try it again. I want some drink. Now, as you can see, now you can understand. I want some drink. And then it's falling into eventually it's falling out in our product inquiry intent in this case. Okay, let's say you having this intent has been set up. Of course, if for online shopping, product inquiry is not enough. The second one, you maybe need something. The second intent is add to shopping cart. So which will be responsible after the customer has been figured out what product item code they want, and then say I want to add to my shopping cart for product A002, something like that. And then the second one will be handled to adding to shopping cart, and the third one could be place the order, checkout, something like that. Okay, if you do the complete scenario, so there will be at least three intent you need to look into. All right, so now let's say I assume I have having the first intent product inquiry train, and then I can go to the second step. I can build a SKU. I can build a SKU. Let's say for my SKU, I would like to have the for the same name as well, product inquiry. All right, so you can keep a different name, but there's a SKU. SKU would be responsible to fulfill the request from the intent. So the intent is just the natural language processing, which you are. So the board would have you to understand. The board would have an understand. Okay, if you look at from the API perspective, so basically when you talk to the board, so the board you're giving the sentence, I want some drink. As you can see, eventually you will understand. You're passing the whole natural language processing. I want some drink into the structure format, and in this case, it's JSON format. So what's the intent and the intent name, and then 99% is confident is asking about the product inquiry, and then for the entities because we have defined the product entity, which would allow us to extract the product information. Is a TV or drink or book, something like that. So this is an entity in this case. And then with this one, and then basically now we can create a SKU, and the SKU can create we can define when to trigger first. Let's say when the customer is talking about the product inquiry, I want to trigger this SKU. Okay, of course you can having as many as complex condition as you're going to be triggered for the SKU as well. And then you can also having some requirement, which you can say, before I fulfill this request, I need to meet this requirement, some kind of prerogative you got to fulfill in this case. All right, I don't want to go to that too much detail. And the next thing is, let's say I want to respond to this intent request, and then you can create a message request, and then as you can see, you can send the message back directly. So this is a static message. Okay, let's say if I send, you can select several kind of format. The simple one is plain text, or you can have a list, or you can have a quick reply button as well. We also can do the same thing through the programming. Let's say if I select the very simple one, let's say okay, I got you, something like that, and then you can say, here is the book, here's the product, blah blah blah. But this would be the static one. This would be the static one. If you're using the send message and the send the static message, I said if we're going back to the board again. Now we can test the board again. Say I want some drink, and then as you can see, you will reply it as you sending the test message back. All right, so this is now really interesting, because eventually we having more complex logic. In our case, we got, okay, the customer is looking for some drink. Why? Because we know the incoming intent is talking about the product inquiry, and then the customer is looking for is a drink. So we need to fulfill, in order to fulfill this request, let's say I need to go back to business one, or I need to go back to by design, and then to search the product catalog by the keyword drink in this case. And then I will need to do what? I will need to do the webhook. I'll need to webhook. So the webhook is something now you can programming to handle the request. All right. So now this is the good timing, I introduced the second one for the book, which you can have a very simple board. How can you implement the Hello webhook? In this case, you can go to the GitHub, and then you can if you look at the GitHub, if you're going back to the hackathon, first one is the hackathon. The hackathon we have, I think Jacob already mentioned about the building block. So we for the chatbot we talked today, you can go. You'll be finding two samples here. So this is the first one I mentioned about. So tutorial, the samples. Now I would like to show you the Hello World. The Hello World is just or if you know how to working with the SAP Cloud Foundry, and they're very simple, and then you can upload the Cloud Foundry. Let me showing you very quick. Okay, rush. So I already download code. So you as long as you know how to download the code from the GitHub, so that's pretty much Git clone. And then for the GitHub, I just explained the code a little bit, very simple. So this one is it's a Node.js sample. I implement it as a Node.js sample, and then it's Node.js. I use an Express, which I have a HTTP server, so which I can handle some HTTP requests, incoming requests. So and then I only having one Hello World instance. So this Hello World instance doing nothing but to send back the message. It gave me two messages. One is it's a text message saying I logged that, and the second one is sending back the second message as a list object in this case. Okay, this object in this case. Now let's say let's get it deployed. So to get it deployed, it's very simple to get deployed. So you just rename the board a little bit, because let's say I have I've been documenting all the steps I doing here. Say I rename the board because I'm target to get it deployed, to get this board to deploy on SAP Cloud Platform. And then I already look into my SAP Cloud Foundry. Now this is the if you're not very familiar with SAP Cloud Foundry, and then you can go to the building block for more detail as well. So now I will log into my SAP Cloud Foundry. Okay, now log into my Cloud Foundry and my space, and then I already inside this Hello World board, and which will design me how I deployed my app to the Cloud Foundry in this case. So I will deploy eventually I will deploy Node.js. I didn't say the view pack here, but the automatic from the programming language here is a Node.js. So you use this pack, and then name it as a Hello World board, and then it's the memory I consume and how many instances I'm having here. So now already inside this one, so I need to have a CF push, and then doing is uploading. It's download the view pack for the Node.js, and it's uploading my coding and create an app for me. So it's uploading the app into my space, into my organization, into my space. In this case, now it will download the view pack and the drop light. You should consider as a container, as a long-term container for my app. And then now it's starting my app, and they install the dependence. In my case, it's install the Express or the other module I need. And then once you have done all of this thing, and then you will run your host my app has been running. So once you have been started, I should receive the URL, which is handling. If you look at the coding here, the coding it's handle only one post request for the endpoint for the request. So for this one, the coding here, it's handled a post request, and then now the URL I'm getting is this the URL. So basically, of course, I will not be able to type. I will go here, say HTTP, and then to post a request, because this one is only always get. Because my app is only cannot get. You only handle the post in this case. Okay. All right. So now very simple one. I will just going back to my shopping assistant. Let's say now I want to use a post, and then the URL I want to send to the handle for the webhook. It's HTTPS, and then this is the URL my app has been hosted in the SAP Cloud Foundry, and then I just save it, and then now you have the board done. Okay, now when I say it, let's delete the first. Let's delete the first one. Okay, let's keep the first one. So you are respect to having three replies. So one is for the static reply, and the second and third reply is from my webhook. My webhook is one is for larger that. Let's send the same request as well. Say. As you can see, you have reply me 3, very static. So this is the first reply. The second one is from the coding. And then this one is also from the coding. During our coding, this reply me. What you should do is before you reply me, you should maybe call a business one, call the your service provider or third party service URL to implement your service fulfillment, and then you can format the message you want to send back. So here the message format sample, very simple one. If you want to send a text message, so here it look like this. You want to send back the text, and then there's content, and the second one I want to send a list, and then for the list I have several elements here. I will have the title, subtitle, and the button in this case. Yeah. All right. So this is a simple one, a very high level one. How from end to end, how can you train the ball? And how can you build the ball? Maybe the next question is let's assume we have done the coding, done that. Now let's say I want to have the ball to be work with multiple channel. Maybe it work with the website. Let's say when I have a website, and then I want to embedding this ball to my website, something like this, and then the end user can click here, check with me, and then I want some drink, and then you would immediately to interact with the end user. All right, so just very simple one. If you want to, you can color the color scheme. I don't do too many things here. So it's the header and the message you want to show as well. You get the and then you can get the other message setting, or you can have what message say, hello, I am your shopping assistant, and then you can given a name as well. Let's say Sadish. Sadish is serving for you for your boarding. All right, and then once you having done that, and then once you're having the channel, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board, and then you can have the channel, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board. You can create first, and then you can build the board some code snippet. So once you're having this code, and then you can including this code into your XML, into your website, and then immediately you when you run your website, and then you have something like Satish is showing here. Hi, I'm your shopping board, and on this case, yeah. All right, so this the one of the easiest one, and the second one, let's say I just go for the messenger, for the messenger bots. And for the messenger bot, I don't want to go through step by step. And then basically you just need to create a page. This is nothing new, and you create a Facebook app, and then you get your app ID, and then you get your page token. Just follow the step here, step by step, and then get your app secret, and then you can build, and then you can put them here, and then I already have one, so I don't want to repeat the. I don't have too much time for the live demo one by one, because I need to create a page or create the app. So I already have one with me. So basically, I have created two more. One is for the whiteboard, but disregard the name. I using to connect to my second sample. So the second sample is the one I'm talking about for the SMB recast board. So this board, it can help you. It can understand. It can help the sales manager to answer the sales analyze query. I recommend you to read the details. Read the detail from the building block here. So here, inside here, you are having the detailed explanation what it's about. So the board is about basically you can consider as a level virtual system. So in this case, I only target on the sales manager. The sales manager can ask the board about the question about the sales analyze. So the sales analyze, for example, is say like the one I've been given. How was my sales today's sales for this quarter, this month, or this year? And I want to have a monthly sales report, and so on and so forth. And I also make some video, record some video for you to have a look. You can connect to the V1 backend, or you connect to the by design backend as well. So in this way, I having one board which can serving from two SAP ERP here. So just a bit high level for the architecture. So of course, using the SAP conversational AI, which would help me to do the natural language processing. All right, and then I actually also deploy the board to the Facebook Messenger as well. When the end user talk to the Facebook Messenger, for example, in this case, so just disregard the name, whatever the board here. Here, let's say I just want to log into maybe by D. Let's say I want to look into by D, so I have intent to handle this one. So you will in the background, you will handle me to authenticate to the by design or business one, and then now I can ask the question. Saying, who are my provide customers? And then in the background, you're involving the recaster board for the processing. If we're going back to my recast board, it's this recast board, and then the same. If I say let me turn off the debugging. So let's say if I say show me the I hope I having data for 2016. Let's say I want to having the sales analyzed by the month. Okay, I don't have data, so maybe. Okay, so this one should have data for me anyway. Or having the code in this case. All right, and then I have eventually you will I have eventually after you having do the natural language, you will tell you I have a web recast. I have a webhook, which is also running in the SAP Cloud Platform, which is handling the SB request. Let's say if the intent is talking about a sales analyze query, and then I will for by design, I will generate the query for by design dynamically because I have object mapping model for all of the sales analyze, and then I know from the result of natural language processing, I know what it's asking about. If I'm going back to here, and then if I turn back, click the information, and then this is the result of the natural language processing result from the recast. As you can see in my board, you understand this is about sales analyze intent, and with 98% because I having many intent to train this one, so you're having very good understanding about what the user asking. And then as you can see, I have defined the entity. I defined the model, which is very generic one, very generic one, abstract one. So because eventually I'm going to submit the question about the analytics, so I need to transform from the natural language, human natural language, show me the monthly report into the. So the OLAP queue, I didn't make it specific to business one or to by design on this stage. So at this stage, it's generate one. So it's about dimension, and then you know about the monthly, and then it's about the sales report. It's about the sales in this case. Okay, and then
Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, Yatsea, I think we can summarize for that because we are a bit overrun. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I think I've almost finished as well. So and then I have the SMB recast board. So for you to look into more detail later on for CodeCam as well. So the CodeCam is how can you answer the question, what am I sales opportunity in this case. So I will leave you to do some homework, and then what you need to do is you need to go back to the building block for the chatbot and have a look at the recast SMB recast board and to see the architecture how I implement it. So I'm using the semantic layer, which I coding from the service layer. From by design, I'm using the all data query to the by design data source in this case. Okay, so all of the query eventually will be dynamic translate from the dimension and measure and the mapping into the B1 semantic layer and mapping to the by design data source and report in this case. And you can have a look at the details by yourself, and then you can also I also have a document which how you can extend it. So basically, if you want to implement the what are my top five sales opportunity, you will need to look into this document how to extend it. All right. So most likely you don't have to write too much. Basically, be done through the configuration. So the one thing I want to showing you, I don't want to give the answer yet, but if you look at the code eventually you want to do eventually would be the mapping. You need to, what do you need to, if you want to implement what is my top 5 sales analyzing, you need to go to the config and the intent, the mapping. Mapping for the sales analyze, of course you need to create another intent. So for the opportunity analyze intent, and then you need to give in the different kind of assistance and something like that. And then eventually you also have a session, have a semantic about the thing. So say if target system is business one, and then you will be mapping into into the sales analyze query. You're mapping to in the sales analyze query, and then the default, the technical field for the customer, so on and so forth. So basically you can look into the code, and then you can basically what you need to do is just modify this one to serving, to create a new intent for the opportunity analyze, and then to be using the same endpoint as well. So the endpoint I have implement it's this login handle me the login. So this one it will be reusing by all of the reusing for all of the intent, analyze the intent. Okay, so to summarize quickly, for the exercise for the code cam you go to do, of course you need to go back to the board. The first thing you need to do is you need to read the documentation, and then you need to fork the board. So fork the board means you copy the board from mine and then to your account, and then you can modify from there. Okay, and then what you need to do to implement the sales opportunity analyze, you got the train. Of course, you need to go and create a new intent that you can name it as an opportunity analyze, and then you can giving as many sample as the way you're saying what is the top 5 intent, what top 5 opportunities, so on and so forth, and then you can modify the code I've been mentioned about SMB most likely you will just need to modify the mapping, intent mapping in this case, and then you should be able to implement it here. All right, so yeah, and then last but not least, and then when you're having the board, as you see the board also can showing you the diagram. You're having this one is showing the list of the results, and then you can showing the diagram from the messenger in this case as well. So which will be provide a much better experience for the end user in this case. So with that, I need to stop now because we need to finish now. Okay, so hand over back to you, Jacob.